Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Road to 2000. As always, my name is Caleb Denby, and tonight is a bittersweet night here coming from the studio, because this may very well be our last Road 2000 championship tourney. That's right, this could be your last chance to become champion of the road. I am going to be hosting, and to switch things up tonight, guess what? Guess what's gonna happen? You see this button right here? This big button that says join? I'm gonna click it. There you go, I'm in. Although I think I need to refresh my page here because something was not quite right on that one. And so you're probably wondering, you know, now that Caleb's playing, I want to play too. How can I do that? Well, it turns out it's super easy. First thing you gotta do, go to this page. What's this page? Well, this is the page for our chess.com club. So you're going to want to be clicking on that. You're going to want to be joining our club. And from there, you are good to go. Hello, NJF. Hello, Matan Muhammad. Hopefully you can all see me and hear me okay. We had some tech issues before the stream, but I think we are up and running and rocking and rolling. All of those things. So like I was saying, first thing you got to do, go to this page that I posted in the chat, and you see this tournament right here, Road to 2000 live stream tourney. That's where you can find your stuff. And actually now I'm realizing that maybe you're not seeing everything that I am talking about. If I click this, do you see it? Maybe you don't. That's okay. Go to the link, join our club, and then join our tournament. We've got 5 people in there right now. That's not enough people for the Road to 2000 live stream tourney. We can do better. We can do better. So there you go. Join the tournament. That's the link directly to the tournament. You do have to be a member of the St. Louis Chess Club team in order to join. And it's going to be a really exciting night tonight. I'm happy. I am ready to test my mettle against all of the Road to 2000 faithful students. I think you guys are going to put up a good competition. Congrats on winning the last tourney. Well, I won the under 2300 at the Chicago Open. Now it's time to see if I can win the Road to 2000 championship. Time is short. Join while you can. You have just 5 minutes and 40 seconds left to join in on the fun here. Don't dilly, don't dally, join while you can, and hopefully we have a great event. So once again, this is the first edition of the Road to 2000 Championship where I will actually be competing. So if you want to try and take down the instructor, now is potentially your only chance. Of course, at the Chess Club, we are starting to go back to more in-person tournaments. If you're local to St. Louis, it's great news. We've got all sorts of fun events going on at the Chess Club. And so our virtual tournaments are likely going to be slowing down a little bit, including the Road to 2000 live stream tourney. So this might be your last month to get in on all the fun action on chess.com here. We have tournaments almost every day, and it might not be like that for much longer. So join up while you can. All right, we're up to 8 players so far. I'm on the Chess Club's account here. We're rated 2000 and are the #1 seed still. But Counter Sparks just joined with the nice 1800 rating to give us a run for our money here. So we'll see what we can do. Also noticing some Chess Club regulars. We've got Mike in here, so much better than you, and Alex. And this Mendel person, I think I remember Mendel playing one of the previous tournaments and doing fairly well, so look out for that. PB Diamond also definitely has played before. And Chef Kez, perhaps that's a new one. Don't recognize it off the top of my head. Mike Glodemans, also potentially new. Steve says, you remember you lost to me once, but revenge is like sashimi, best served cold. So shiver when you see me. All right, I'll be on the lookout. Also got Philip in the chat joining us here. And I don't know. I'm ready. I'm looking forward to it. Does it start in 3 minutes? Yes, it does start in 3 minutes. Specifically 3 minutes and 33 seconds. So time. is wasted.
Turn your bit rate up really quick. We have to stop the stream just for a second.
Whatever
you want to do.
Oh, how bad is the quality bad?
No, I can hear you all the way, but it's just like every now and then pause and stuff. But if the bit rate's super low, it's like 1650.
Let's just keep going. All right. Hopefully the stream looks okay. Ben said perhaps our bitrate is a little bit low, but we're gonna roll with it. We are gonna roll with it and play this tournament. Hello, AZ. Once again, join the tournament. If you're just joining, it's not too late. You have 3 minutes left to join in. We're up to 9 players, which is enough for the full 7-round event, thankfully. But we need some strong people. Where are all the strong students at with the big ratings? I know we're all on the road to 2000, but some of us are further along than others. Some of us are further along than others. I remember in one of the previous events, we actually had some National Masters playing who weren't me, which was very exciting to see that even National Masters can be on the road to 2000 as well. The road back to 2000, as they say. All right, up to 10 players. We've got Ostapo joining the tournament. And just 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left to join. Join while you can. You may have to join our St. Louis Chess Club team first, but after that, you are in business to compete. Again, this is your last chance, potentially, to play in a Road to 2000 tournament. If you want to be crowned Grand Champion of the Road to 2000 for life, now is your best chance. It's your best shot at it. Grand Champion for life. There may not be another chance for you to be dethroned after tonight. Minute and 30 seconds to go, everybody. Minute and 30 seconds. Alex wishes people good luck. Of course, there was one Grandmaster in residence in particular here at the Chess Club who would always wish everyone good skill. That was his thing. It's wishing everyone good skill. But we're not nerds here. We know that it's better to be lucky than good. So I'm with Alex on this one. Good luck to the competitors. Just not quite as good of luck as I have, hopefully. And the tournament is about to start. We've got less than a minute. If you want to join in, less than a minute, everybody. Join in while you can. Join while you can. All right, and I think we're underway here in another 30 seconds. Up to 11 players. 11 players. Angry Bird in the tournament now. Angry Bird. All right. And I'm feeling a little bit nervous, to be honest. It'll be pretty embarrassing if I don't win my own live stream tournament. You know, I think I'm willing to make the deal. If you beat me in the event, not just win a game against me, but if you get first place in the event, higher placed than me, I think it's only fair that you get to keep the class. So if you want to be the instructor of the Road to 2000, you should have joined. But now we are officially underway. I'm going to start off with D4 here. And these games, keep in mind, are 3+0. So we got to make sure we're staying ahead on the clock here. And this is exactly what I say whenever I commentate these things. If you're behind on the clock, it almost doesn't matter if your position is good, depending on how bad your time deficit is. We've got a Dutch defense on the board in the meanwhile, and my opponent gets a pretty early e5 in, but in return I get to play this move e4. I'm gonna kind of hope that the e5 pawn is a little bit weak, hoping this d5 square might also be a little bit uncomfortable for my opponent to deal with. All right, we see knight c6 by my opponent, defending e5. I'm gonna keep up the pressure here. Once again, gotta stay up on the clock. Gotta stay up on the clock. Oh, and Mike's in the chat saying good luck. In the YouTube chat, that is. Okay, now we see takes here. I think I'm gonna have to take this back. Don't think I have time to play takes on f6. Can't see the moves. That would be a problem if you can't see the moves, wouldn't it? So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm going to refresh this one here. Let's see what we got. All right, that should be fixed now. I'm hoping that's fixed. Is that fixed? That looks like it's fixed. All right, thank you, whoever in the chat that was telling me to fix my stream. But also, how dare you? Now I'm actually down on the clock. I think I see a tactic. I'm just gonna play it. Hopefully it works. And I think it does. This was my trick, is that I have this check here. If rook takes, or rook e6, I'm gonna play rook e5, and then we're good. And then we're good, I think. You can see original position only. I think you should be fixed now. I think it should be fixed. I know we're dealing with a little bit of delay as well, but I think we're all on the up and up here finally. It is fixed. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Okay, rook f2 looks scary, but I think I might have some tricks here, pinning the queen to the king somehow. And I think it's all working out. I won a pawn, and I'm not even behind on the clock. Fixing streams on the fly, not even behind on the clock. c6, unfortunately, didn't really stop my threat here, and I should be winning a queen. And don't worry about what happened before then. Yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties once again there. Hopefully this is the last week when we have all sorts of these problems. A little bit of behind the scenes here at the chess club. We actually recently had to tear up the whole studio and put it back together to fix something. And so we're not quite totally put back together, so I'm still having to put on a producer cap in some instances, and I think everyone can agree it's just better when Ben is in charge of everything and I don't have to pretend I know what I'm doing. Alright, in the meantime though, I have won my first round, convincingly nonetheless. So now that our game's over, why don't we take a look at the competition here. We've got Shellhada as one of the other highest rated players, and he's up against Alex from the chess club. So let's see what we can do here. Shellhada with the black pieces and a pretty decent position. Alex rocking the bishop pair though. Absolutely rocking the bishop pair. Yeah, good game, Mike. Good game. We just had some tactical difficulties in our game while the technical difficulties were on, but we figured it out. And yeah, that queen e8 check, just not easy to deal with. Okay, bishop f6 now. Looks like Shellhada is stepping out of the pin. There may be some threats against this knight on d5, although for the moment that bishop was defended. Queen c4, and yeah, black here seems to be trying to make use of this knight in order to counter the power of this bishop. But Alex is just taking pieces off the board, just taking them all. And white has more pawns than black. If I'm counting correctly, 1, 2, 3 to 2 on this side. That's a 1 pawn advantage. All right, rook d7 now. Alex is getting active, and you know, I have to say, Shellhada by far the rating favorite in this game, but Alex is giving him quite a fight here. Quite a fight. Who else is still playing? Looks like most people are actually still playing. We had our game finish reasonably early, but Shellhada is the one to look out for here. Counter Sparks definitely won their game early and moved to 1 point out of 1, as well as El Ingenioso Hidalgo. There you go. Now you got to hear me try to say that. And, oh, what's that? What's that I always say at the top of every one of these tournaments? The position on the board, once again, is irrelevant, as the players simply have not been playing fast enough. Alex down on the clock, and that matters much more than being down on the pawns. And perhaps now we see why Shellhada's rating is higher than Alex's for the moment. You just gotta move fast. It's 3 plus 0. It's 3 plus 0. This is not your grandmother's time control. This is a young person's time control. All right. This bishop's attacked, and black takes it. Now we get a bishop trade in 0.4 seconds. Alex just is not going to have enough time to finish this game. And we see Shellhada coming away with the victory here. With the victory. And with that, I think all of the games have completed. Is that true? And it is true. On to round 2. Let's see if I can maintain my position at the top. We're up against El Ingenioso. Ingenioso. I'm going to play the Caro-Kann. No messing around in the Road to 2000 live stream tournament. We're here to win. We're not here to play openings we don't know. We're here to play solid and convincingly. All right, I am going to play g6 and bishop g7. Go for this kind of setup. Depending on what my opponent does, I think I'm just going to bring the bishop out to g4. Sometimes I like to put this guy on f5 and offer this sort of unique little trade. But in this case, I think it's simpler and probably better to just bring the bishop out to the natural square. I'm going to play a weird move now, knight e8. I'm going to start heading to d6, looking at some of these light squares. And maybe I'll start pushing. Maybe. Oh, my pawn's attacked, so I'm going to defend it. Always defend your pieces when they are attacked. Good. It's just good life rule to follow. You know what I mean? Okay, bishop f4. I'm not so afraid of my opponent taking my guy. I'm going to play a6. Prepare b5 a little bit before I play it. My opponent might play a4, but that creates some more weaknesses over here that I could try to exploit. Okay, queen e3. I get the feeling my opponent is trying to play bishop h6. I am just not a believer in the power of bishop h6 here. I don't think my king side is very weak at all. Got a nice solid setup over there, so I am not afraid. Okay, I'm going to bring the knight into c4 now. That's why we rerouted it from f6. Okay, and the queen moves away and gives up on bishop h6. So it turns out I was correct to not be too concerned about that move. If I play a5 though, then maybe pawn to b3 is my opponent's idea. I'm going to play rook e8 here. The idea of bringing this bishop back maybe. Aim at these dark squares a little bit more thoroughly, more carefully. Even on the clock. Want to definitely keep it that way. It's always tough when you're talking about your games to also play your games. But that's the challenge here on the Road to 2000 tourney. Okay, we get b3 from the opponent. I don't think my opponent should have played this unless they absolutely had to. Because now it's going to be tough to keep all of these squares together. I can bring my rook over to c8, and the pawn on c3 missing a defender. Now the pawn on c3 also pinned to the queen. Looking a little bit tough for El Ingenioso. And okay, bishop e5. I think this tactic is good. I think this one works. Pawn is pinned to the queen. Knight's defended via x-ray through the bishop. Pulling out the old x-rays here on my opponent. And we'll see what he chooses. He chooses queen back to d1. I think though now I can continue taking stuff and all of the holes in the position sort of fall at the same time. All the weaknesses are coming apart. Now I'll go queen f6 or something and try to take this guy. Maybe I'll just take it outright. It's a little bit scary having everything on this diagonal, but if I ever get checked, I can play queen f6, or if I ever get pinned as well. And what's more, I don't even see how I can get checked or pinned, so not too much danger at all. Rook c1 is an idea to follow up, so knight to e2 is good enough to stop that idea. I will retreat. Now I should work on rerouting my pieces, make sure I stay safe. This knight's a little bit too loose here for my liking, so I'm going to pull it back, bring this other knight to the nice strong square on c4. And now I shouldn't be in too much danger at all. All my pieces are defended. I have many more pawns. I also have many more seconds, which is very, very important. And life is good. Bring this knight to d3. Defend and attack. Take the free stuff. Oh, save the free stuff. Play queen f6. And we'll bring in the pieces now. Time to bring in the big guns. That's a free rook. I'll take it. That's a free queen. I'll take it. Threaten checkmate. That's a free knight. And that's the game. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. All right, let's see how the competition's doing. Shalhada looks like they finished their game, still 2 out of 2. Cornwallis also on 2 out of 2. Let's check out this game between Countersparks and Mendel. And Countersparks comes away with the victory as well. And back to the tournament here. Looks like almost all the games are done. Maybe this game with Bretac is the last one remaining. Looks like they're both down to 10 seconds. Oh my gosh. And white has more rooks, but black has more pawns and more minor pieces and more seconds for the moment. The king is running. The king is running up the board, and Chef Kez just simply out of time. Again, the common thread here, the player with more time on the clock is the one that is winning. And there is now a Shailesh in the chat. I wonder if Shailesh and Shalada are perhaps the same person. All right, I'm gonna go with D4 here, keeping it simple. We'll develop our pieces. My opponent hasn't put a knight onto the F6 square yet, so I'm kind of intentionally leaving my knight here on B1, because against this line, I am just not interested in allowing some funny business with bishop takes C3. So I just won't develop until my opponent does. I have plenty of other useful things to do, and I intend to do them. I'm going to bring this knight back to E1 now, pave the way for my F pawn to move, and also now bringing this knight to a better square on E3, or D3. My opponent brings the knight out in this direction, and I'm not so sure this is going to go quite how my opponent is hoping it will. I'm going to play F4 here, and because my opponent has taken so long to develop the pieces, I think I'm going to be able to develop rather quickly here and give my opponent some real problems. Castles is a move black might want to do, but if black does it, then all this pressure down the H file is going to suddenly disappear. And that's why we see my opponent going for this instead, hoping for some queen h4 funny business. Am I going to allow it? I could play h3 here. I could potentially play something else. I could play f5 just to increase the tension to the maximum. And I believe that's what I'm going to do. Nah. Yeah, I'll play f5. We'll try and have a little bit of fun here. If queen h4, I can still play g3. My queen defends the mate laterally, and that comes with tempo as well. So my opponent is going to have to move the queen, and then I'll have time to capture on a square like e6. Okay, if I go here, my opponent might be intending the move e5. I could consider capturing on e6 first. Do I want to or not? Let's go ahead and take on e6 as well. Just want to rip it open as much as possible here and give my opponent some problems. E5, now I can play something like knight f4, and the d5 square is open for my knight, as well as the e6 and g6 squares. E5, knight f4, if queen h4, hold on, e5, knight f4, there might be knight f2 funny business, but it doesn't seem too scary. Queen h4, I would still have g3, and life is good in that position. And once again, my opponent's position may be okay, but my opponent's clock is definitely not okay. Definitely not. Need to make a move here. My opponent does play this move, e5. And now I suppose I have a little bit of a decision to make. I can develop my pieces, or I can try to win. Just outright, just win right away. Honestly, I think I would rather develop my pieces here. I'm going to play knight c3. I don't really mind if my opponent wants to take. Yeah, my opponent is playing for checkmate. Fair enough. I was going to originally play g3. I suppose I still am. I'm noticing now that queen h3 might be worth some more consideration than I gave it. but it should still be fine. Should still be fine. I go bishop g5 because I need to defend my rook. So if knight takes h2, I can take it, and my rook isn't hanging. And now my opponent castles, shocking everyone with the legality of the move. That's okay, though. I'm just going to occupy the center with my knights, target the weak squares. And I don't think my opponent's crushing attack is really going anywhere, to be honest. I can play queen g2 if I want, and get rid of this queen sort of at any time. However, I have more devious intentions. We'll see if my opponent is able to stop them or not. More devious intentions than queen g2 in this spot. My opponent plays knight f6, and yeah, maybe this is sort of the only way to solve the problems. So my devious intentions were to move the bishop and play knight g5, trapping my opponent's queen. But here perhaps if I take, then knight takes, then the queen will have the g4 square. That's okay though. I think I'm going to play it anyways. And am I going to take this? Suppose I could. Suppose I could take this guy. I'm just going to play knight g5. I'm going to play for the clock rather than the position here, because I think that's the best strategy. Oh, wow. Okay. That move surprisingly has everything defended. And now I'm sort of lagging a little bit, but we are keeping it all under control still. Okay. Bring this over here, play rook e8, get some trades going. And yeah, lots of lag, but that's okay. We're gonna get there anyways. We're way up on time, and somehow, someway, I won this game as well. Hopefully we don't have any close time scrambles, because then I'm just gonna get destroyed. But we win! We win this game, and move to 3 out of 3 in the event. Looks like Shailhata, the number 2 rated person in the event, is still playing. Oh! And Shailhata's getting flagged! Cornwallis, 69, with the big upset here, defeating Shailhata and moving to a perfect score. I suspect that will be our opponent in the next round. And maybe I've made a bit of a death wish there, asking for no close time scrambles, because Cornwallis seems to know what they're doing. All right, here we go. I'm going to play the Caro again. And we get a King's Indian attack type of setup here. I wonder if I know who this person is. There was someone at the chess club today telling me about a certain King's Indian attack that was played very recently by one Fabiano Caruana. And I wonder if this is the same person rocking the St. Louis Cardinals avatar. Okay, I'm going to go queen c8. And e6 here. And the reason for that is I want to unpin my knight from all directions and then fight back on the dark squares. This is a pretty common strategy when you have a fianchettoed dark squared bishop. You want to put your pawns on light squares and make this bishop sort of a powerhouse. So that's sort of what I'm going for here. Realistically though, it's a blitz game. I'm just trying to keep my king safe and keep the game rolling. Okay, my bishop gets pushed around a little bit, but my opponent's king is going to find itself being a little bit airy in these positions. And even if we trade off all the rooks, as we're doing here, this king can definitely come under some fire, especially with opposite colored bishops, as we have here. That's why we see my opponent playing this move, king to f1. I'm also going to improve my king, considering this move h5 to kick the opponent's bishop a little bit back. And then I'm going to try to go after some of these soft-looking pawns over here on the queen side. Now that my opponent's queen has left the file, I'm definitely looking to take on d1 to free up my own queen. I'm now hitting 2 weak points, e3 as an invasion square, and b2. Okay, my opponent continues playing quickly. I'm going to go a5 to lock down this b4 square, and I'm honestly considering some very brute force ideas here. Very brute force ideas. All right, I am going to go queen c5 and just keep the game flowing here. Got some ideas of b5 in this position, maybe even a4 to make some breaks. Maybe b4 is a better idea. That's what I'm going to go with. Again, just keeping time with my opponent here, not playing too quickly nor too slowly. And my opponent offers a big queen trade. I'm going to have to decline. Going to have to decline that queen trade. As I think it would be just a little bit too drawish if I were to decline. Okay, I'll continue declining, go queen a4. I'm playing with a little bit of fire, letting my opponent's queen in, but I should be invading as well. And if we both invade, I'm simply going to have the safer king. My king has all this nice shelter in front of it, and my opponent's is looking slightly barren. Got a barren king over there. And not B-A-R-O-N. B-A-R-R-E-N. I think. Spelling's hard. Okay, so my queen has invaded, and now, making use of the opposite colored bishops, I am able to very easily attack on the dark squares here. And this is what I was hoping for all along. I just take over the dark squares entirely, and my opponent simply cannot cover everything. And this is going to be checkmate in a few, I'm hoping. Maybe it's not quite that easy. My opponent can run out to the g4 square here, but should be very tough to keep this king alive for too very long. And how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this, everybody? I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to start with king h6, take away this g5 square from my opponent, and we're going to go from there. This is one idea that's maybe not so ridiculous, but I don't know if we have to get quite so dramatic with it. I found it. Bishop e3 is a nasty, nasty move here. Queen takes f2. I bet you think I'm going to take that queen back. I bet that's what you thought. I bet you thought, I'm going to take this guy's queen. He's going to take me back, and that's going to be the end of the game. Little did you know, g5, checkmate. And there you go. Hello to Arch in the chat. And so far, so good. For me, we're successfully keeping ahead in the Road to 2000 tournament. It would be so embarrassing if I were to not win this event as the instructor of the class. Pretty good turnout here. We've got 17 players in the event. And Shailata, the second highest rated person, did stumble in a previous round here, but I think with a win here, they will likely be our next opponent. So what's going on? Looks like white is winning a rook and has some extra time on the clock. This is definitely what you need to do. Did I miss bishop e7, mate? I missed bishop e7, mate. Well, my mate was cooler, okay? I found the cool way to get to the diagonal. You don't know nothing about nothing. All right, my mate was way cooler. It was way cooler. I got to sacrifice my queen. Come on. I'm pretty sure bishop e7 was mate. I think I just missed it. I think I just missed that one. It happens sometimes. We got the desired result. Life is good. And the question is, will Shailata get the desired result? Or will black find some way to checkmate here? The good news for you, Tom, is that I don't often play e4. I'm more of a d4 player. But if we get paired, maybe I'll try it. It's been a while since I made the Nidorf videos. I'm not confident that I remember all my own lines that I recommended. So you might be doing okay. And once again, the position on the board, irrelevant when compared to the number of seconds on the clock. Shailata moves to 3 out of 4. And we continue up against the number 2 seed in the event now, Shailata, and I'm unable to play a move. I'm pre-moving. I'm pre-moving my first move. I did it. I pre-moved d4. Not an easy task on move 1 to pre-move, but we did it somehow. And my opponent's playing a sort of clever move order here to get into the Slav. I'm just going to play knight c3, keep things simple. And now I actually play the exchange Slav, but my opponent gets a very, very slightly improved version of the exchange Slav against a couple lines, including mine. So in most cases, I would have played bishop d3 last turn instead of this move, knight c3, but because of the move order, I had to play knight c3 instead. This allowed my opponent the extra opportunity to put this bishop on f5. But since bishop f5 was not played, we have simply transposed. Just some Slav knowledge for you there. Some Slav knowledge. Bishop g4, and we're back in the main line. Back in the main line. Bishop back over to g6 now is rather interesting. I'm just going to play quickly here on the queen side. My opponent chose to play slowly in order to get rid of my bishop, but this came at the risk of falling a bit behind in development. So I'm going to use my extra development here to take over on this side of the board and see if I can force my opponent to make some weaknesses. If my opponent hadn't wasted those two tempi, moves like castled, queen b6, and then rook c8 could have been played. Instead, we're seeing this bishop take on d6 to just remove the threat. And this is why perhaps you should wait a little bit before bringing this bishop all the way over to the g6 square. In this case, though, I'm also wasting time because this knight effectively hits my rook. If rook c2 there, I believe my opponent would have played knight b4, attacking two pieces at the same time. Very scary stuff. And now my opponent is coming after me, trying to checkmate me on the king side, it looks like. And yeah, this is not a plan I'm entirely familiar with, but it looks fun enough for blitz. I'm actually going to take with the pawn here, give my king this little hidey hole on f2 if need be. I could have also taken with the knight and maintained my pawns, but I think I'm actually going to use this open H file to apply a little bit of pressure on my opponent. Now, of course, if takes, I'll take with the knight, and all of a sudden my opponent's king once again is looking a little bit bare. No time to castle queenside, and the queenside is also not exactly safe with this open C file looming. Queen f6 now barely keeps it together. Of course, that move I was hovering would hang a rook, so it's not ideal. But now I need to find a move. What to play here? What to play? My opponent wants to castle. What do I want? I think I want to play knight h5 to start and figure out the rest from there. Wow, queen to h8 is bold. I'm going to play a stupid move. Am I going to play stupid move? I really like playing stupid moves, but maybe that one is a little too stupid to be any good. Maybe that one's just a little too stupid to be any good. I'll take a free pawn instead. I'll take the free pawn instead. The chat room's making fun of me again. I sure hope I didn't miss anything. If I missed something, that would be so embarrassing. Okay, what are we doing here? I think I want this queen on f3, and then my life makes a lot more sense. I think that's the answer here. Put the queen on f3, and life starts making more sense. I can play moves like this now. Of course, I do have to unpin my rook first. And I can take this guy, push f6, and now I should be winning. Yeah, queen h7 was the funniest move, and normally as a rule, I always try to play the funniest move, but sometimes the funniest move just isn't the best. Okay, that's a free rook, and I think that seals the deal. Maybe my opponent meant rook f7, but at that point I think the game was already pretty well in hand there. I'm just going to push g5, g6, and that should do the trick. All right, I think all the games are pretty much done in this round as well. No, we've got Nick still playing, Nick Mike. And let's see how Nick Mike is doing from Germany. Looks like Nick is down a couple pawns in this endgame, also down 30 seconds. Never good to be down 30 seconds when you're also down the pawns. Matt loves and plays the Caro-Kann. Two things I thought were impossible to do at the same time. I thought, you can either love the Caro-Kann or you can play the Caro-Kann. but not both. So good to see that Matt is out here breaking all the rules. Good game, Shalesh. Thank you for the game. That was an interesting idea you had with the kingside push against the exchange slot. I'm not so sure it was great, but you know, I didn't love my position out of the opening, so maybe there was something to it. Yeah, maybe there was something to it. All right, we've got round 6 coming up here. We're on a perfect 5 out of 5 so far. Looks like Bretak is on 4 out of 5, so 1 win here. And we might be back in the thick of it. And wow, Bretak says, say hi to Ryan Deering for me. Ryan is someone who I haven't seen in quite some time. He used to work here at the chess club, but moved away to Texas. I wonder if I'm playing Ryan, or if this is someone else who's a friend of Ryan's. Unclear. Unclear. I'm gonna play the stupid way this time and just play bishop f5. I get this nice juicy square on e4, and in return, you know, my pawns look a little silly. You missed this one. When is the next one? Unfortunately, Marco, this could potentially be the very last Road to 2000 tournament. I can't confirm for sure, but this could be the last one. This could be the last one. And that is because we are moving back to doing things in person here at the chess club. And so our online programming is going to slow down perhaps just a little bit in the form of tournaments. No need to fear though, because if you're in the St. Louis area, there are plenty of events you can attend. How can you join the club if you can? Well, head on over to stlouischessclub.org, and I think all the information you need is going to be posted there. If you're in the St. Louis area, you can also just come on down any day. First visit to the chess club, totally free. So just come check it out and see if you like it. The last, not the last Road to 2000, but perhaps the last Road to 2000 tournament. It's been a lot of fun doing these, but you know, all things must move on. I'm playing knight a5 here to distract the knight from the defense of the bishop, hoping I'm going to be able to take and then take back. And more than fancy trades, I will have fractured my opponent's pawns ever so slightly. And with this fracturing of the pawns, it's less about the pawn on c5 being weak, although that is nice, but it's more about activating this bishop along this diagonal. If I can just activate the fianchetted bishop, then my position will be fantastic. My opponent now trying to stuff a knight in my face and make me eat my words about activating my bishop. And now I think I can rely on the weakness in this on this c5 pawn. Pretty hard while you live in Israel. Well, then you can still keep up with this online. Oh, and something is going on here. My phone! I'm being called by Grandmaster Dennis Boros. Should I answer? I think maybe not. But that's okay. Alright, I'm going to head on over with rook e4 now. And f takes e is the plan. I'm just up some material here, so things should be going alright. Alright, knight d4 is hitting my guy. I'm going to take and see if we can secure a victory here. Up some material in this rook endgame is enough to win. I think it probably should be. My opponent's king is not going to make it too far. And in the meantime, I can start pushing this just conglomeration of pawns that I have in the center of the board. So speaking of Grandmaster Dennis Boros, he's probably calling me to figure out the details for his class tonight. His class, of course, coming up right after my class. Don't want to miss that one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and push through here. Wow, my opponent doesn't take. I thought my opponent would take in order to get this king to f4, but not taking is perhaps also interesting. The idea, I believe, is just to keep my pawns doubled to make it harder for me to push. Ooh, but that's a fork. That's a nasty fork right there. And I believe I have won this game. All right, just one round remains in the tournament. Can I go 7 out of 7? I think With this victory, I may have secured first place, thankfully, so don't get dethroned in this edition of the Road to 2000 tournament. Check and win queen. Are you missing something? I don't know what position you're talking about. Maybe there was some free queen somewhere, but I didn't see it. In this case, though, I'm just pushing pawns and winning the game. All right. How many games are left? Oh my gosh, so many games are left. So many games. Let's check back in on Alex here. See how Alex is doing. And Alex, turning the tables here, has the one with the shaky looking king, but also has the extra seconds in this case. Oh, also, Black's king looks a little bit shaky as well. Yeah, simply rook takes b3, and Alex has this game well in hand. Wild position, though. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely craziness. Ooh, and that's checkmate. A nasty checkmate by Alex to secure the victory there against PB Diamond. What else is going on? We've got Shailata still playing. Let's check back in. Shailata with 30 seconds. Shailata has been like the last game to finish in almost every round here. I wonder what that's about. Just this guy just plays chess and gets interesting games. Looks like a free queen though, and this game probably won't last too much longer. Or the free queen could be missed. We get 97 instead, and game continues. Okay, knight takes f5, and still well in hand for white. I personally would have gone for the free queen, but I missed mate in 1 earlier in this event, so you know I'm not one to talk here. And we get resignation with 0.1 seconds on the clock. An impressive feat by Mike here, resigning before the clock can resign for him. And now we're down to just 1 game left. Mendel 55 against Dry Ran. And what do we got? We've got queens, and Mendel just trying to not stalemate, trying to stay ahead on the clock. And will we see the stalemate? No. We will see the checkmate with 0.1 seconds again. Again, very impressive stuff. Ending games with 0.1 seconds on the clock. And with that, it is now round 7 out of 7. Oh, and look who it is. Look who it is. So much better than you. This is Mike Kummer himself, throwing down the gauntlet here, trying to win my spot as the Road to 2000 instructor. And he's just disrespecting me. Oh my, the disrespect, launching the pawns, unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. Gotta stop those pawns before they get too far. And now I get to take over the center and get a nice free win. Get to crush them with my extra central space. Here we go. Oh my gosh, isn't it great how much space I have? You don't even have to do anything special here. You let the space play the game for you. Develop your pieces. Castle. You know, what's the trouble? There is no trouble. All right, I'm gonna play this move now and see if we can get a quick checkmate from Mike here. I'll go ahead and take this. And Mike's in a tough spot. That's a free bishop. Thank you very much. Ooh, and that's checkmate. Move 17 checkmate, and Mike is destroyed. Tough game, Mike. Tough game. Shouldn't have wasted all that time. Looks like I'm going to get first place in this event, but we've got plenty of other games going on. This looks like it's going to be one of the most interesting matches. Britak and Shailata, 2 of the strongest players in the event, and we'll see what they can do. We'll see what they can do. Looks like a pretty solid position for both players here. Britak taking over the center space a little bit against the Pirates. And in the meantime, Shailata's bishop on b7, not my favorite piece in the world, to be honest. This looks like some of those funny Roy Lopez positions where, you know, why is this bishop sitting over here? You know what I mean? Wouldn't this square just be much, much better for it? And trying to take advantage of that, we actually see Britak playing knight h4 and f4. And this is where you really feel the absence of this bishop. White is going after all of these light squares that otherwise wouldn't normally be quite as weak. In return, though, it looks as though a tactic was missed. Little bishop takes h4 idea by Shailata, winning a pawn on e4. And okay, that's not the end of the story, though. We see g3 as the rook was under attack. Maybe white could have played knight takes d6, but I'm not one to talk. I don't know how to calculate. Instead, we get F takes E and D takes E, and it looks as though Shaylada actually got the better of things in that little tactical flurry there. Black simply has more pawns, and now after C5, the bishop will be joining the fray, and I see no reason why Black shouldn't be better. White's king also very open. It looks like a tough game for Breedock. Alright, let's move along then and check out somebody we haven't seen too much of. Who haven't we seen too much of yet in this event? Maybe Dryrant against Nick Mike. Nick Mike, I think, definite long-term viewer of the stream. It's tough for me to remember how the usernames match up. I'm not sure exactly who it is, but I remember seeing the name enough that they are regular. And we've got some weird things happening on C3 here. White not electing to castle this game, and Black looking to put the hurt on due to that fact. And wow, I don't know why Black refrained from capturing this pawn. I definitely would have. Now White is getting the free castles in, and will be able to play a little bit more safely than otherwise. Okay, we get Queen G6, trying to increase some pressure here. Rook B1 attacks the bishop on B7. Bishop D6 does not defend the piece that was attacked. If I'm playing with white pieces, I'm taking the free bishop, and that is looking pretty tough for Nick Mike as well. Let's jump back to this game where Breedock is still fighting. We've again got this weak white king, Black with the extra pawn, and the safer king and more development, and the two bishops. And wait a second, I didn't count the pieces! Why does white have so many pieces? Why does white have so many pieces? F5 attacks the knight moves, king G7, and that's a free piece on E5. All right, never mind. Breedock, definitely the favorite in this game. You know, extra pawn and weak king is only worth so much. Extra piece also going to be worth a lot here. Although perhaps actually, you know, the tide is turning once again, and I'm starting to prefer Shaylada's position once again. This pawn on F4 is impossible to defend, and after this pawn falls, you're going to see this queen weasel its way in here. Let's see a move like C5 come up, and together the pieces swarm, and that's simply checkmate in 2. Good game to Breedock, winning that free piece, but it wasn't enough. Sometimes the weak king is just too weak. Let's check back in on Mike Glaudemans. Mike here up a queen, but again, eternally down on the clock. Cornwallis has proven to be the speedy player of the tournament, and once again, using that speed here to try and win down the queen. And yeah, turns out it's going to be enough. Extra seconds, always worth extra queens. And that's the tournament. That was the final game. I did manage to win this one. Going 7 out of 7. So my throne here as the Road to 2000 teacher is for the moment safe. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I believe everyone who played in the tournament is actually entered into a raffle. It's going to be held after the SummerSlam Bash on June 23rd, and the winner of that is going to get a free lesson with our resident Grandmaster. Speaking of which, that guy is Dennis Borosh, and he's going to be coming in just a few minutes to teach you guys some chess. So stay tuned. It'll be right here on the YouTube channel. And Dennis Borosh is going to be talking some chess. All right, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. These tournaments have always been a blast. It was a pleasure to actually play in one rather than just commentate. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.